There's been a mistake. I go to Lincoln High. I've been there since freshman year. The administrator didn't even look up. She pulled up a file on her computer and said, "Your mother submitted the transfer forms 3 weeks ago. Everything's already processed." She's not my mother, and I never agreed to this. Her expression didn't change. "Well, you're enrolled here now. Take your schedule." That's when I knew. My stepmother had done something, and it was already too late to reverse it. My name is Hannah. I'm 16 years old, and I'd just been transferred to a school I never asked to attend, without my knowledge, without my consent, and with documents I never signed. 2 years ago, my dad remarried. Her name was Irina. She moved in with her daughter Katya, who was 14 at the time. I tried to be welcoming. I helped Katya adjust, taught her English slang, shared my room with her at first. I figured blending families was hard, and I wanted to do my part. But over time, things shifted. Irina started making small comments about my priorities, how I didn't need debate team, how AP classes were too much pressure, how I should focus on being more relaxed. I wasn't rebellious. I didn't party or skip school. I was a junior at Lincoln High with a 3.6 GPA. I was captain of the debate team. I had friends. I had plans. I was working toward college, toward a future I'd been building since freshman year. But to Irina, I was in the way. Dad always took her side. "She's trying to blend the family, Hannah. Give her a chance." I gave her a chance. I gave her 2 years. And then I started noticing things. Private tutors for Katya, test prep sessions, extra attention on her school applications, her extracurriculars, her future. I didn't think much of it. I figured she was just being a mom. What I didn't realize was how far she'd go to put Katya first. If you've ever had a step-parent rewrite your life without asking, hit subscribe and drop where you're watching from in the comments. I read every single one. I came home from school that day holding a piece of paper I didn't understand. It was from Riverside High, a school across town, known for overcrowded classes and low test scores, a school I'd never applied to. I walked into the kitchen where Irina was chopping vegetables. "Why did you transfer me to Riverside? I never agreed to this." She didn't stop chopping. "Your father and I discussed it. Lincoln High is too stressful for you. Riverside is closer, more relaxed." "Closer? It's 40 minutes by bus." And Dad didn't say anything to me. He signed the papers. "It's done." My chest tightened. "What papers?" She wiped her hands on a towel, calm as anything. "The transfer paperwork. You'll start Monday." I heard the front door open. Dad walked in, setting his keys on the counter. I turned to him. "Did you transfer me to Riverside?" He looked uncomfortable. "Irina said you were struggling, that you wanted a fresh start." "I never said that. I have a 3.6 GPA. I'm on the debate team. I have friends." Irina cut in, her voice smooth. "Katya needs to focus. She's applying to magnet programs. Lincoln only accepts so many siblings per household under district rules. We made a choice." It hit me all at once. She'd transferred me out so Katya could take my spot at Lincoln High. Dad tried to smooth it over. "It's just a school, Hannah. You'll adjust." My voice was shaking. "You forged my signature, didn't you?" Irina's eyes went cold. "I signed as your guardian. Perfectly legal." I saw a folder on the counter. Transfer paperwork, residency forms. I grabbed it. Irina snatched it back, but I'd already seen enough. My mom's signature. Forged. On a parental consent form. My mom passed away when I was 12. Irina smiled, sharp and icy. "You start Monday. Pack your things from your locker this weekend." I tried calling Lincoln High's office that night. They told me the transfer was complete, signed by both parents. There was nothing I could do. Monday morning at Riverside felt like walking into a different world. The hallways were crowded, chaotic. The classes were packed. 35 kids in a room built for 25. Teachers looked exhausted before first period even started. I went to the counselor's office during lunch. I need to reverse my transfer. I didn't agree to this. The counselor barely looked up from her paperwork. Honey, you need both parents to sign, and even then, Lincoln's full for the semester. But I didn't sign anything. Your parents did. That's all we need. I was placed in regular classes, not honors, not AP. My college application timeline, the one I'd been building for 3 years, was falling apart. My phone buzzed all day. Texts from old friends. Wait, you left? Why didn't you say anything? I tried to explain. But how do you tell people your stepmother forged documents to kick you out of school? It sounded insane. A week later, my debate coach from Lincoln called me. Hannah, you quit the team? Right before regionals? I didn't quit. I was transferred. There was a pause. Your mom called and said you were dealing with personal issues and needed space. My stomach dropped. She's not my mom. She said she was your legal guardian. I'm sorry, Hannah. We had to replace you. I hung up. Irina had called my coach. She'd lied. She'd made sure I couldn't come back. My scholarship chances? Gone. My team? Gone. My reputation at Lincoln? Erased. At Riverside, a teacher mispronounced my name during roll call. A kid in the back whispered, "She got kicked out of Lincoln." I tried to correct it, but no one here knew me, and no one cared. That night, I waited until Irina left the house. I went into her home office. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I knew she'd kept something. I found a folder labeled School Transfer. Hannah. Inside were the forms, the signatures. But there was more. A notarized guardianship document listing Irina as my legal mother. Backdated to a year after my mom died. My hands were shaking as I took photos with my phone. And then I saw something else. Immigration paperwork, USCIS forms, Irina's citizenship application, still pending. I scanned through the pages, addresses that didn't match, employment records that looked inflated, signatures that didn't line up. She hadn't just forged my school transfer, she'd committed fraud. I didn't cry. I didn't break down. I opened my laptop and started searching. What happens if you forge legal documents? Immigration fraud consequences. I saved everything to a cloud folder. I took screenshots. I documented dates, discrepancies, inconsistencies. What she didn't know was that I'd been watching, listening. And now, I had proof. I remembered something. When Irina first moved in, she was obsessive about paperwork. She checked the mail 3 times a day. Anytime something came from USCIS, she'd lock herself in her office. My dad used to joke about it. Irina treats paperwork like gold. But now I understood. Her immigration status wasn't secure. She was still in the application process. And the guardianship papers, the forged signatures, they were all part of her case. A way to prove she was part of a stable family unit. She'd used me, my name, my dead mother's signature. I also remembered something she'd said once, in Russian, when she thought I wasn't listening. In my country, you do what you must to protect your child. She wanted to rewrite my life, but she forgot I know how to research, how to argue, how to win. I didn't tell my dad. Not yet. He was too deep under her influence. Instead, I reached out to someone I hadn't talked to in over a year. Aunt Jenna, my mom's older sister. She lived 2 states away. After Dad remarried, she'd kept her distance. But before she left, she told me, "If you need me, call." I sent her the photos. She called me within an hour. "Hannah, this is serious. She forged your mother's signature. That's identity fraud. And if she used it for immigration purposes? Her voice trailed off. What do I do? We file a report. School district fraud hotline first. Then we talk about the rest. Jenna helped me file anonymously. We documented everything. The forged signatures, the backdated guardianship papers, the inconsistencies in the immigration application. Meanwhile, at home, Irina grew more confident. At dinner one night, she had a neighbor over. She was bragging. Katya's going to Lincoln High next year. It's so competitive, but we made it work. Dad beamed. I stayed silent. Katya looked at me. Do you like Riverside? I forced a smile. It's fine. Irina smirked. She's adjusting. It's good for her. A few days later, Jenna called me again. You could also report this to USCIS. Fraud on immigration documents is a federal offense. I hesitated. That could get her deported. She forged your dead mother's signature, Hannah. She used you as a pawn. I didn't answer right away. And then I overheard something. Irina was on the phone in the living room, speaking in Russian. She was laughing. I understood enough to catch the meaning. The stepdaughter is out of the way. Katya has everything now. That was it. My college application deadline was 2 months away. My guidance counselor at Riverside had already told me, "You're not competitive for the schools on your list anymore." I'd lost my team, my credits, my future. That night, I made the call. I reported Irina to USCIS for immigration fraud. 2 weeks later, a USCIS investigator showed up at our house. Irina was called in for an interview. Her application was flagged. Dad had no idea what was happening. He kept asking her, "What's going on?" She wouldn't answer. The investigator asked to speak to me privately. I sat across from him in our dining room. I handed him printed copies of everything: the forged guardianship papers, the fake parental consent, the backdated notarization, the immigration forms with mismatched addresses. He looked through them carefully. You understand this could result in your stepmother's application being denied? I understand, but she committed fraud, and she did it using my mother's name. He nodded. We'll be in touch. After he left, Irina stormed into my room. You reported me? Do you know what you've done? I stayed calm. I know exactly what I did. You forged my mom's signature. You lied to immigration. You ruined my school year to benefit Katya. I gave you a home. I married your father. You owe me respect. You don't get to steal someone's identity and call it respect. Dad appeared in the doorway. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Irina, did you forge documents? She tried to deflect. It was for our family, for stability. I handed Dad the printed papers. He read them slowly. His hands started shaking. You signed as Hannah's birth mother? You forged her mom's signature? You wouldn't understand. In my country, I cut her off. We're not in your country. And here, this is fraud. Dad kept reading. His face went pale. Why didn't you just ask me to sign? Irina's voice cracked. Because you would have asked questions. She needed it to look like she had full parental rights, I said, for her citizenship case. Dad looked at me, then at her. Is that true? She didn't answer. The next day, Irina's lawyer called her. Her citizenship application was suspended pending investigation. The school district called my dad. The transfer had been made under fraudulent pretenses. I could return to Lincoln High immediately. Katya overheard everything. She started crying. She didn't know. I felt a flicker of sympathy, but I didn't back down. I'm not the one who lied. Within 2 weeks, I was re-enrolled at Lincoln High. My debate coach let me rejoin the team. My teachers worked with me to catch up on AP credits. It wasn't easy, but it was possible. Irina's citizenship application was denied. She was given the option to reapply in 5 years, or face deportation proceedings. My dad filed for separation a month later. He was devastated, humiliated. But he finally saw the truth. Katya and Irina moved to a smaller apartment across town. One night, Dad sat me down. I should have listened. I should have protected you. You should have. But I protected myself. He nodded. He didn't ask for forgiveness. And I didn't offer it. Not yet. I didn't need his approval anymore. Just his honesty. Months later, I got my acceptance letter. My top choice college. Partial scholarship. I ran into Irina once, at a grocery store. She saw me. She looked away. I didn't gloat. I didn't say anything. I just walked past. For the first time, I realized I didn't need her to admit she was wrong. I just needed to know I'd stood up for myself. And won. They say family is everything, but what happens when family becomes the thing you need to escape? Sometimes love looks like letting go. Sometimes strength looks like saying no. If you've ever had to stand up to someone who thought they could rewrite your story, I see you. And I'm telling you, you're stronger than they think. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever had to fight for your own future? What did you do? I read every single story. And if this one hit home, subscribe, because you deserve to be heard.